What's good, YouTube? Slender Revolution X here. Coming to you guys with a local report today. Not yesterday, but the day before. We went to Waynesboro, PA for one of our locals. And if you guys have been kind of up to date on my videos, I just recently did a DN video with my Glad Beast deck, kind of revamped for the September format. So I really kind of got back into the deck and really started enjoying it again. So I decided to build it and take it to local this week. Since the Neos deck has been kind of tough, like I said, without Stratus and things, so I kind of changed it up a little bit and decided to go with the Gladiator Beast. I went 4-2 with it. I topped 8, and we ended up splitting top 8. So because it was like 12:30 at night, we ended up splitting. I just wanted to give you guys a rundown on the deck. I already changed it a little bit because I am trying to get ready for Philadelphia. The regional coming up next Saturday. I will be there, so if you guys see me, feel free to come up and ask me questions, see how I'm doing. I always like to hear from fans. But with the deck that I'm running, I think I'm going to run this, maybe with a few changes here and there. But like I said, confidence is 9/10 of the win, and I feel really confident with this deck. So we'll see how it does. I'll give you guys tournament reports up there, things like that. So without further ado, let's get into the deck. I'll show you guys what I got going, what I use, things like that. So let's dive in. Okay, starting off with monsters. I ran 2 Laquari. He's the big beater in the deck, and I prefer to open up with him over any other Glad Beast. So he's really good. 2 Gladiator Beast Darius. Darius is the one that I special summoned from the graveyard. Darius is a pretty good beater too, especially since he's a Beast Warrior, so he's searchable by Tenki. A quest, essentially to get back Glad Beast into your hand, or War Chariot, which is one of the key traps in this deck. 2 Murmillo. Some people don't run 2 Murmillo. I've always been a fan of 2 Murmillo because if they get one, they kind of if they get rid of one via anything, removing it from the graveyard, sending it to the graveyard, it's hard to get it back, and you lose your monster destruction ability. So I like to run 2. Only 2 Test Tiger. Running 3 Test Tiger hurts me so much. I hate opening up with like 2 or 3 of these and no Glad Beast in hand. So I keep it at 2. And I think it's a pretty key card in the deck. On to reactive hand traps. I got 2 Maxis. This actually won me one of the games, essentially, against the Noble Knights. They kind of went off. I drew 6 cards off of it, and then proceeded to wreck them next turn. 1 Gladiator Beast Secutor, by far my favorite Gladiator Beast, and this card was an MVP in a few games. He's my easiest outlet to Herc, and getting Herc on the field with cards in hand is always dominant, especially if you can back him up with like a War Chariot and a Compulse or something like that. And there is a lot of back row in this deck, so that's possible. 1 Gores. Gores is just kind of a surprise factor, and I really like Gores, so it's always good to run, in my opinion. He's a huge beat stick and kind of allows you to come back from if you're really down. 1 Hippolymus. Big defense. He's another card I don't mind opening with because people don't know what you're playing. If you don't show what you're playing, people tend to run into defenses, and it's a good easy tag out, or it's a good way to get 200 or 300 points deducted from your opponent's life points. And last but not least, for the monsters, I run 1 Bestiari, probably the best Gladiator Beast ever made. I wish he was at 2, but Gyzaris is your biggest play in this deck, and I think you need the Bestiari. I couldn't see not running the Bestiari. On to magics, quote unquote spells. On to spells. 2 Pot of Duality. It's kind of a control deck, kind of an anti-meta deck. You need to be able to sift through your deck and find out cards that you need to get. Double Gladiator's Proving Ground. Gladiator's Proving Ground is your generic recruiter for Glad Beasts. I originally in my other deck profile didn't run Gladiator's Proving Ground. I really ran Tenki over it, but I found that this can recruit your Bestiari, which if you turn 1 open up a Glad Beast and then draw into this and you can search Bestiari, that's the easiest Gyzaris play I think I've ever made, and that was a really big help in the tournament last night. 2 MSTs. Mystical Space Typhoon is good in any deck. You're seeing more decks with back row this format, so I think it's good to have 2, but I didn't want to run 3 because you do have the outlet to Bestiari, which is also kind of like a free MST. Double Forbidden Lance. This card's like one of the biggest MVPs in this deck. Protects your monsters, allows your monsters to get over your opponent's monsters. Things like Torrential and Mirror Force kind of suck when you run into, but these can save your monsters for sure. 1 Book of Moon. One of the best utility cards I think ever made. I really think this is close to a staple, if not definitely a staple. So I always tend to run one. One tanky for that added recruit, and it's never bad to have that plus 100 life attack points on things like Darius and Laquari. Laquari gets to a 2200 beater when he's brought out by Gladiator Beast, and this is on the field, so it's pretty good. Monster removal, I run one Soul Taker just to get over hard monsters that I can't seem to find it out to. And last but not least, Dark Hole. Dark Hole is a staple. In my opinion, I don't see why anybody wouldn't run it. On to traps. I run 2 Gladiator Beast, 4 Chariot. 3 is way too clumpy, and I would hate opening up, like a Test Tiger, a Magic, and then 2 of these kind of deal where these become essentially useless for the turn. So I like to keep it at 2. Plus, there's a recursion ability with, a quest to get them back. Double Fiendish Chain. This card is another MVP from this weekend. This card will stop your opponent's place cold. There's a lot of times where I just shut down opponents and allowed to go over them next turn. This shut down Star Eater from wrecking me, things like that. So really, really good card. Double Mirror Force, mass monster removal is amazing. I don't see why you wouldn't run 2 if you're running a back row heavy deck. Double Waboku, probably one of the best cards in the Gladiator Beast deck, just because it allows you to tag out. I do really like this card. 1 Compulse, 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Starlight Road. I was really questioning running the Starlight Road just because, with things like Torrential down to 1, stuff like that, I wasn't really, thinking that this was going to be very, hazardous to, very helpful to me. I wasn't thinking this was going to be very helpful to me, but it turned out to make some pretty good plays, saving things like Heraclinos from Black Rose Dragons, things like that. So I really do want to keep that in there. 1 Torrential and 1 Bottomless. They're one-of traps, and in a stun deck, I think you should be pretty much running most of the one-of traps that the game has been limited to today. So that is the main deck, guys. We'll dive into the extra deck real quick. I'm not going to really go over any of these just because it's kind of self-explanatory. 1 Zen Mains, Tempo, MechWhip Engineer, arguably one of the best rank 3s in the game right now. 1 Leviair Sea Dragon, he's a utility card. On to 4s, Maystroke, Photon Papilloperative, Steel Swarm Roach, Utopia, and Utopia Ray. Utopia saved my ass a lot. I bashed this card a lot, but he saved my ass a lot this past tournament. Just allowing your Gladiator Beast to stay on the field till next turn, and then Utopia can poke over most things, and then you can tag out and things like that. Onto my fusions. 3 Geysaris. I was running 2 for the tournament. And then I decided to run 3. I had space, and I didn't want to run out of one of the biggest boss monsters in this deck, so if they somehow removed 2, I wanted to have the option to go into 3. 1 Heraclinos. I don't need to run 2 of this. Usually if I get this on the field, it's game, and he probably isn't going to leave the field, just because essentially you need to get over him with something, and it didn't happen all yesterday. When Herc hit the field, I won the game. And last but not least, the Stardust Dragon for the Starlight Road. So that's the extra deck. I do have room for 1 more card, and I think it's going to be Chimeric Fortress Dragon, just for the machine and card carry matchup, and because I run 2 Cybers in the side deck. Now, diving into the side deck, I didn't have a side deck for the tournament, so I feel like if I did, I would have done a lot better. I would have been able to play the Hieratic player the way I could have, the way I should have, things like that. So I was a little disappointed in myself because I could have prepared better for the game, for the tournament itself. So let me get into the side deck. Double Cyber Dragon for that machine matchup is pretty much an instant win. 1 Brotherhood of the Firefist Bear. I run a Tensu in here because Tensu is pretty good in Glad Beast, especially if you have a Bestiari in hand and a Laquari in hand. You can summon the Laquari, summon the Bestiari, then normal summon the Laquari again with Tensu and go into Geysaris place, so things like that. Darius works as well. So I do run the Bear in there to side in the Tensu. 2 Electric Virus wins against Dragon players, in my opinion. 1 Rectiari for those Rogue and Sector matchups and things like that. Removal is always good, in my opinion. The 1 Fossil Dyna, this card won me a game. I do think I'm going to end up siding 2 for the tournament, but we'll have to see how that plays out, how this side deck works. The Tensu, Double Imperial Alma for the Dragon matchup. 1 last Fiendish Chain just in case I need it, in case I feel like I need that 3rd stopping power. A Needle Sealing, good mass monster removal. The 3rd MST, And last but not least, the one Prideful Roar. I was contemplating maining the Prideful Roar, but kind of decided against it. So, let me tell you guys what I had in there originally and didn't. Because I built the deck the day that day, it was kind of tough. And I realized that I really shouldn't have played a couple cards that I did. I didn't play Dark Hole. I was looking through the deck after the tournament and was like, well, damn, I probably should put that shit in. So I decided to put in Dark Hole. I was playing Gladiator Beast Respite, which is the return 2 to the deck, draw 3. I didn't get it off ever, and it was the first card that I sided out every time I went into game 2. I was just like, yep, we're done with this card. And the last was Gladiator Beast Sam Knight. I thought Sam Knight was a good idea at first, and he turned out to, I never got his effect off, which was kind of disappointing because I wanted to make this kind of like a control deck where I just kind of try to keep advantage the entire game. And he is not a bad way to generate advantage, especially if you can add Glads to your hand, but never seemed to work out that way, so I decided to take him off and kind of go with the pure Glad build with, you know, the basic, like, I think 5. And it worked. It's been working a little better so far. So that's the deck, guys. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll show you some more Glad Beast videos if you guys are into that kind of thing. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you can think of any improvements. I know a lot of people are trying to tell me to run Bear, and some people are trying to tell me to run Horn of the Phantom Beast. I just don't like losing the Horn of the Phantom Beast to tagging out, things like that. So it's in the back of my head. I will keep that in mind. But like I said, guys, I will be at the Philly Regional, probably playing this, possibly playing Fire Fist. I'm not sure yet, but I am preparing with this as of right now. But that is a week away, and things do change in a week, so we will see. So, guys, remember, as always, subscribe to join the revolution today. This is Slime Revolution X signing out, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.